Thank you for that. Okay, so we have quite a large number with poor understanding, average, good. That's kind of what we would expect. And we hope obviously that our webinar will improve those numbers considerably. But again, we'll always be around to answer questions even at a later date. So following that first poll, a quick introduction to our speakers. First today we have Hiren Chauhan. Hiren is my colleague and a co-founder and managing director of Windsor Capital Management. Hiren will be looking at the citizenship programs that are very popular in the Caribbean. And following Hiren, we then have a guest speaker, Shabir Chowdhury, who is a managing partner of Rise Asset Management. Shabir will talk us through two paths to gaining residency specifically in the UK. And Windsor is delighted to have an exclusive arrangement with Rise for these opportunities. So we look forward to hearing more about those a little bit later. First of all, let me tell you a little bit more about our first speaker then, Hiren. Hiren has over 15 years of experience in finance and wealth management, incorporating 8 years spent with Barclays International. He is experienced in assisting high net worth clients from all over the globe, particularly the African market. Having co-founded Windsor Capital Management, he has overseen the success of the business and the launch of 3 international offices in West Africa, Kenya and Brazil. He has a law degree from the University of Westminster, and he's very well travelled, having spent a lot of time in West Africa, the Middle East and India. So on that note, I will kindly pass over to Hiren to tell you a little bit more about the company and about what we do. Hiren, do we have you?
Hi, yes. I hope everyone can hear me. Thank you very much, Francesca, for that introduction, and welcome everybody to this Citizenship and Residency by Investment webinar. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce for hosting this session in association with our local partners in Nigeria, Greenwich Trustees Limited. So I was actually yesterday traveling back from Nigeria, and whilst I was on the plane, I was thinking about the opening, about introducing the services that we provide to all the participants today. And that got me thinking. I was in Nigeria for the best part of 10 days, but I only decided to travel to Nigeria about 2 weeks ago. So in a very short period of time, got my visa, booked my flights and traveled out. I could have done so in a matter of days, should I have wished. But this is not a luxury which I find that is afforded to everyone. So through my conversations over the last couple of weeks, what I found was there are people looking to apply for visas for the US, and they have been given interview dates with the embassy for 2023. Individuals looking to visit the UK, Europe, taking 1 to 2 months to get visa applications processed. And I think, for people in the UK, people in the US, this is something that we take for granted. But it's not only in Nigeria. This, there is an issue in many countries across the world, and it's quite hard to believe, to be honest. I mean, there's so much in the news about how, in the 21st century, space tourism is becoming closer and closer, and hopefully soon it will be a reality. Yet we find that traveling from country to country is still a cause for concern for many of us. But this essentially is why Windsor Capital Management was born. I have a slideshow which I want to show. So I'm just going to share my screen. I hope everybody can see. There we go. So Windsor Capital Management, we are a specialist firm processing citizenship and residency by investment applications for high net worth individuals and their families. We offer the services across 12 different programs in 10 different countries. However, today we're going to be focusing on just 2 of those segments, the citizenship programs of the 5 Caribbean islands, and also the residency by investment programs offered by the UK in association with our UK partners, Rise Asset Management. But before I go into this and before I start this, I saw that from the poll, the level of understanding is a mix. So just want to take some time to explain the difference between the two, citizenship and residency by investment. So the first, citizenship by investment, what is it? Citizenship by investment is when one invests directly into a country, whether it be by donation, whether it be by real estate purchase, in exchange for the passport of that country and the rights that come with it. Whereas residency by investment is when one invests in a country, could be by real estate or investment into a company, in exchange for the residency rights of that country. We have another poll that's just popped up. So I'll come on to that poll in just a second. So just to finish off on residency by investment, once that investment is made, the residency rights will give the individual the ability to come to that country, and over a period of residency in that country will enable them to apply for citizenship. The next poll has just come up, which is asking what the main reasons are that one would consider a second citizenship for. So I'll just give you guys a few seconds to answer those questions. Now I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Global mobility, healthcare and education. Great. So just moving on to the next slide. And those results are actually quite consistent with what we found. So over the years, having spoken to individuals across the globe who inquire about different citizenship and residency by investment programs, it's apparent that there are four main reasons why individuals look for a second citizenship on alternative residency. The first, as was the highest on our poll today, was increased global mobility. I spoke at the top of the webinar about the difficulties that some people are facing at the moment in order to get visas to travel to different countries. Applying for a second citizenship can ease these concerns. It can mean that you don't have to go through the rigmaroles of having to apply for visas. One can jump on a plane and go to another country should they wish to do so. This could be for increased security reasons, to expand your businesses, but also allow you to be part of a wider society. The second reason why people look for alternative citizenships or residency is for security, for family. Unfortunately, we live in a world where not each and every country is economically or politically stable. And for that reason, high net worth individuals do look for a plan B, options whereby if they need to vacate a certain region for a period of time, they have the ability to do so. Thirdly, which was actually the second most popular on the poll, is access to healthcare and education. Healthcare and education is obviously very, very important for not only ourselves, but also the next generation. And different countries, different jurisdictions have differing levels of healthcare and education opportunities. And citizenship and residency by investment can give individuals access to that. And finally, again, differing jurisdictions, different countries have different tax regulations, and having a second citizenship or residency can assist in the preservation of wealth or succession planning. So, as I said, today we're going to be concentrating on the 5 Caribbean islands. So there are 5 Caribbean islands, which are Commonwealth countries, which offer citizenship by investment. They are Antigua, Barbuda, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, and Dominica. And they all offer the same opportunity, but with slight nuances. So what I'm going to do today, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I'm going to run through the 5 different programs and just highlight some of the benefits of each program. So the first one is Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda is a collection of two small islands in the Caribbean. Antigua Barbuda offers citizenship by investment one of two ways, either by donation to the local development fund of the country, or alternatively through government approved real estate investment in the country. Now, once one has decided which route they would like to take and been approved, the citizenship or the passport of Antigua Barbuda offers individuals the opportunity to visa-free travel to approximately 153 different countries globally. They include the UK, where one can stay for up to 6 months in every given year without the need for a visa, and all the EU Schengen zone states, where one can stay up to 90 days in every 180 days. Okay. Some of the other key countries that Antigua Barbuda offers visa-free travel to also include India, Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, Russia, and Switzerland. One can also include their dependent children up to the age of 28 in any application, as well as the inclusion of dependent parents. The processing time currently for Antigua Barbuda is estimated to be about 6 months for approval. However, in reality, one can complete the process in as little as 4 months. Antigua Barbuda is the only Caribbean citizenship by investment program which does have a minimum stay requirement. And all they ask is that in the first 5 years of having your passport for Antigua, that you visit the island for at least a minimum of 5 days. So they do want you to travel to the island. They do want you to see the island as well. The next program is St. Lucia. So St. Lucia is the newest citizenship by investment program for the Caribbean. They only launched in 2016. St. Lucia again offers citizenship by way of donation, starting from $100,000. Also real estate investment as well, although the real estate investment options in St. Lucia are currently quite limited, but they do start from $200,000. St. Lucia offers visa-free access to about 146 different countries, again incorporating the UK, the EU Schengen zone. However, St. Lucia allows children up to the age of 30 to be included in any application, as well as dependent parents above the age of 55 to be included, and dependent siblings under the age of 18. The processing times for St. Lucia are very swift and can be as little as 3 months, and there is absolutely no minimum stay requirement whatsoever. Some of the other key areas St. Lucia gives you visa-free access to are India, Singapore, Turkey, Israel, Mauritius, and Switzerland. The next, and I think my personal favorite, is St. Kitts and Nevis. So St. Kitts and Nevis is the oldest citizenship by investment program available. They've been running since 1984. I would suggest they are probably one of the more reputable programs. They offer citizenship by way of donation, starting from $150,000, but also real estate investments starting from $200,000. St. Kitts and Nevis also offers the highest number of visa-free travel countries of any of the Caribbean islands, 154 different countries, again, including the UK, EU, Schengen zone, as well as India, Brazil, Israel, Russia, Singapore, Switzerland, Turkey, to name a few. St. Kitts and Nevis also allows the inclusion of dependent parents and dependent children up to the age of 30. Again, no minimum stay requirements in St. Kitts and Nevis, and unmarried siblings of the main applicant may also apply. Next is Grenada. So Grenada, I would say, is probably the most popular citizenship by investment option in the Caribbean. And you'll see why in just a second. So Grenada offers citizenship by investment by way of donation to the local development fund, starting from $150,000, but also real estate investment starting from $200,000. The passport of Grenada allows one to travel visa-free to about 143 different countries globally, including the UK, Schengen zone, India, Brazil, China is included with Grenada, Israel, and also the UAE, to name a few. Again, children up to the age of 30 can be included in one's application, as well as unmarried siblings of the main applicant. Processing times for Grenada are between 5 and 6 months. They are slightly longer because, like I said, it is very, very popular. And the reason it is very popular is this final point, that Grenada is the only Caribbean island offering citizenship by investment, which also has an E2 treaty with the United States of America. So what's an E2 visa? So once one is a citizen of Grenada, they can, using the Grenada citizenship, apply for a US E2 visa, which allows one to live, work, and study in the United States of America. This is a 5-year visa, which comes with unlimited renewals. And to obtain the visa, one has to set up or invest in a business in the United States. Okay, it's a very quick and easy process and can be completed within as little as 2 months. And finally, we have from one of the longest processing times to one of the shortest processing times, which is Dominica. So Dominica is a Caribbean island which offers citizenship by investment. Donation options starting from $100,000 or real estate investments starting from $200,000. Dominica allows visa-free access to about 137 different countries globally, including the UK, EU, Schengen zone countries, as well as India, Turkey, Russia, Switzerland as well. Okay. Dominica allows visa-free, children up to the age of 30 to be included in one's application, as well as the inclusion of dependent parents. And the processing times are up to 3 months, although they can be as little as 2 months as well. And once again, there's no need to visit the island once you have your citizenship. Okay, so those are the 5 Caribbean citizenship by investment programs. But like I said at the top, we do offer 12 different programs across 10 different countries. And now I'm going to hand back to Francesca for her to introduce the next panelist. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hiran. Some very interesting detail there about the Caribbean, which I know is obviously a popular option for many people. I'm just going to move swiftly on. We have had some questions for you, Hiran, but I'm going to take them at the end of the presentations. And I want to move on to introduce Shabir again. Shabir Chowdhury is managing partner of Rise Asset Management. Shabir has a track record of building companies and supporting company founders across multiple sectors. The majority of his career has been spent building and managing asset management businesses across Europe. Asset management businesses Shabir has been involved with have raised in excess of $4.5 billion in aggregate, and several have been sold to strategic buyers. In previous roles, Shabir spent several years in banking with Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and indeed Schroders. As Shabir is going to be focusing on the UK today, potentially we could have the next poll up if possible, which will be asking, would you be interested in making the UK your home? So if people can take the time to vote on that one, we can get an idea. And do we have any results for that poll? Oh, so it's quite actually a large number of people. 74% would be interested in making the UK your home. So on that positive note, I will pass over to Shabir for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Francesca, for your kind introduction. I'm really thrilled to see such an amazing turnout for this webinar. I'm really grateful to our host, the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, and of course, Greenwich Trust. As Francesca mentioned, I'm managing partner and founder of Rise Asset Management LLP. Rise Asset Management is a London-based financial conduct authority, or FCA, authorized and regulated investment management company. Rise is authorized to provide investment management and investment advice. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to provide you with a high-level overview of two of the more popular programs in the UK. Many of you would have heard of the Tier 1 Investor Visa program. It's been around for some time now. Changes have taken place over the past few years, and I'll touch on those in a moment. But the Tier 1 Investor Visa is available from a minimum £2 million equity capital or loan capital investment in active and trading UK registered companies. There is no restriction on investing in just one company. One may take the opportunity to create and build a portfolio of investments should they wish to, and these investments can comprise of public companies as well as private companies, so listed companies as well as private companies. The investment must be held for a minimum duration of 5 years. An initial visa is granted for 40 months, which is extendable for a further 2 years if necessary. After 5 years, one can apply for indefinite leave to remain in the United Kingdom, but the United Kingdom must be your main home throughout the 5-year period, i.e. no less than 183 days per annum spent in the UK. So for many of you that responded to that poll just now, that's probably music to your ears. But this is a factor of consideration, and it's something that many applicants that we have spoken and worked with in the past and continue to speak to today it's a great area of consideration for them. But after 6 years, one can apply for British citizenship. There are some restrictions, as I mentioned earlier on investments which have come in over the past few years, which unfortunately do prohibit investment in property management companies, property development companies, and holding companies of residential or commercial property assets. UK government bonds, otherwise known as gilts, previously also a very popular option, is also now prohibited. However, there are many other viable and very exciting investment options to consider. Some of these examples we have worked with or are working with applicants at present include the RISE Digital Health Venture Capital Fund. The objective of this fund is to invest and support the growth of a portfolio of 40 to 50 early stage digital health and medical technology companies. One such theme or opportunity I'm sure you have all heard a lot about, certainly since the start of the pandemic, is telemedicine, which is the ability to consult with a doctor using your mobile phone or other device without having to see one in person. This is not just an exciting opportunity to invest in order to generate an attractive commercial return, but also provides the ability to do good by playing a role in improving the delivery, the reach, and the quality of healthcare. We're very confident at RISE over time that this fund and its investments will demonstrate greatest impact in developing economies where access to physicians is restricted. There is tremendous opportunity to bring many of these innovative and some cases truly disruptive companies to sub-Saharan Africa. The minimum subscription in the fund is £1 million. The term of the fund is 10 years, which is longer than the minimum 5-year requirement under the Innovator Visa. However, our objective at RISE is to exit the significant majority of the portfolio between years 5 and 6. Another option currently being pursued by another investor or applicant is an investment in a healthcare distribution business. The objective of the business is to support small to large healthcare companies to scale and distribute to healthcare providers, healthcare operators, and insurers globally. We have also previously successfully worked with an applicant on their investment in a UK-based construction company. This construction company provides project management services and undertakes construction on residential and commercial projects ranging in size from 3 million to 15 million. Another option available to RISE and its investors is an investment in a trade finance business that provides collateralized short to medium-term lending to healthcare providers. An opportunity also exists to provide a similar alternative finance model to other sectors to include real estate developers and investors. This is something we have extensive experience with at RISE and continue to see strong interest in. Security through this investment program or model can be provided by a first charge over the company's or the borrower's fixed assets. The second program I'm keen to discuss with you was only introduced in late 2019, so it's a relatively new program. This program, known as the Innovator Visa, is specifically intended for experienced business people with an innovative business idea to launch in the UK. The business has to be approved by a Home Office approved endorsing body. It does, however, benefit from a minimum £50,000 investment requirement, which can be via share or loan capital, very similar to the Tier 1 investor program or visa. The applicant and their family, in this case, benefit from a 3-year visa. However, once again, much like the investor visa, the UK must be your main residence or home. After 3 years, one can apply for indefinite leave to remain in the UK. And after 6 years, one can apply for citizenship. Although on paper it appears to be a relatively simplistic program, there are some restrictions one should be aware of. For instance, the company or the investment must be a new business and must not be trading at the time of investment. The applicant must be a founder or a co-founder, and certainly must be a director of the business or company. The business must be innovative, viable, and scalable. There is a requirement for certain milestones to be met through the course of 3 years and at the end of 3 years. And the endorsing body, the Home Office approved endorsing body, has an obligation to provide regular reporting to the Home Office to make sure that the applicant and the company both continue to fulfill the eligibility criteria. One such investment example, which would be eligible under the investor visa, is a digital health business that has developed a software to reduce preventable surgical errors, inefficiencies, and last-minute cancellations in operating theatres. Operating theatres are an incredibly expensive component of a hospital where potential liability is very high. Within the area of financial technology, another company that would be eligible is a software that eliminates delay in payments for retailers on digital platforms such as Amazon. This company ensures the retailers are paid immediately, so at the point of sale. As you can see from some of the examples I've mentioned so far, RISE not only specializes in sourcing unique investment opportunities, but investments that also have purpose. Commercial returns from these investments vary significantly and depend very much on the opportunity, the term or the duration of the investment, and how the investment is structured, i.e. loan capital versus equity capital. Loans to these businesses can start from 3% per annum, i.e. 3% payable to the investor per annum, and may be structured to pay the investor on an annual basis or even a quarterly basis. So one can actually receive interest as a result of providing these loans to these companies. And this can obviously act as a source of income during your stay in the United Kingdom. Other investments can generate upward of 15% per annum. And we've had some outliers, significant outliers to that 15% figure also that have performed well beyond this level. We'd be happy to discuss investment options available to RISE and its investors. Many of these have been approved or eligible to being approved for one or both of the visa programs that I've discussed, and do also meet the initial investment criteria, specifically within the areas of digital health and financial technology. As I previously mentioned, and unfortunately, real estate investment and development would not meet the eligibility criteria of either program. But as I'm aware, many of the delegates on this call have a particular interest in real estate. We'd be very happy to talk to you about pure investment opportunities, whether it's real estate investment directly or real estate development opportunities in the United Kingdom. The team at RISE have extensive experience in this asset class over the past 20 years, and we'd be delighted to discuss either of these two programs with you in more detail. So please do reach out to our friends at Greenwich to organize a mutually convenient time to take this conversation further. Thank you for your time and for your patience. I'd like to now hand you back to Francesca to kick off the Q&A.
Many thanks, Shabir. Excellent presentation. I would like to welcome both yourself and Hiran back We have had a lot of questions, so and I would like to make the most of the time that's left. So Hiran and Shabir, could you join me? And I think before we kick off on the questions, I think we're going to have the final poll, which is just to sort of gauge if after those presentations, we've got a little bit of a better understanding of citizenship and residency by investment. Obviously, even after the questions, your understanding, I'm sure, will be even better. But please do take the time to vote and we can have a check. And while you are voting, I also want to let everybody know, because we have had a few questions about the recording. The recording of the presentation will be available afterwards on the Greenwich Trustees YouTube channel. So you can go back and have a listen and check out the slides that way as well. So, oh look, it's definitely improved. So Hiran and Shabir, you've done a good job. So let's crack on with the questions then. As I say, we've had a large number. I think the first one I will ask was a very early question. If we could just quickly define high net worth individuals, Hiran, that would clarify things a little bit for some people.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Francesca. Obviously, the programs that we discuss, citizenship and residency by investment, are exactly that. It is by way of investment, and therefore one needs to have a minimum asset value to be eligible to apply. I spoke about the Caribbean programs, which require at least a minimum donation amount of $100,000 US. And then there are additional fees which are associated in terms of the legal fees, the application fees, et cetera, et cetera. So unfortunately, these programs are not available to everyone, and we typically class high net worth individuals as those who have the means to make foreign investments in order to apply for a second citizenship or residency by investment. But I don't want to put, an asset value on it because it can vary greatly.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm just going to carry on with you here, and then I've had an early question for your presentation. If I choose the donation or real estate option in the Caribbean and include members of my family, will every one of us have the country's passport? I think that's kind of a question that's been coming through in a number of people's questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when one applies for a Caribbean citizenship by investment program, the main applicant can include their spouse, their dependent children, their dependent parents, and also in some cases dependent siblings to their application. So you could have a full family application. Obviously, the cost of the donation or investment will differ based on the number of applicants. But yes, one can apply for themselves and their family, and each individual who's on the application would receive a passport citizenship of that country.
Okay, hopefully that's clarified things on that front. I have a question for Shabir. Can you get me a job in the UK if I apply for the UK program? How would you like to answer that one?
So this is actually a very big question, and it comes up quite often, particularly with investors or applicants looking at the innovator visa route. And actually, yes, I mean, given that one of the requirements is that the applicant must be either the founder or a co-founder and a director of the company, it makes absolute sense for them to be employed or to be supporting the company on a full-time basis. Having said that, however, we do have access to companies that meet the eligibility criteria, and some of those companies have specific requirements in mind in terms of introducing additional individuals to the team. It's something that we're very happy to discuss with the applicant, and yes, it's definitely something that would be applicable in certain instances. But just the obtaining of a job itself would not qualify you for the Tier 1 investor visa.
Okay. Perfect. This is one for both of you, really. How long do most applications take? What is the fastest option? And perhaps start with Hiran.
Yeah, sure. Applications across, global applications, it depends on the country that you're applying to. With the Caribbean, processing times are listed as anything between 3 months and 6 months, which is, and they're pretty good in terms of, sticking to those processing times. However, that said, we've had applications which have been processed in as little as 4 weeks. But that, I guess, is down to our expertise in getting the application right first time. So yeah, they do vary between 3 and 6 months. But when it comes to the UK, again, varies on the quality of the application, but can be as quick as 3 to 4 weeks, or at most a couple of months. So very swift processing times.
You mentioned sort of it depends on the quality of the application. Are there reasons why someone might be refused an application? What would be the reasons?
Yeah, sure. Good question, actually. It's something that we tend to cover off with the applicants at a very early stage, is that, look, we have a 100% success record with all the applications that we have processed to date. And that is something that we're very, very proud of, something that we want to definitely continue. And the way that we ensure this success rate, and we want to ensure moving forward, is that we provide a number of layers of due diligence in-house to ensure the applicant is right for the program that they are looking to apply for. So that, together with local expertise in all the jurisdictions that we work. You mentioned at the top of the top of the webinar that we've set up offices in all the jurisdictions that we are present: West Africa, East Africa, and South America. And with those offices, we have local knowledge and specialist processing agents who can help the applicant to put their file together, to get all the right documents together, so that when our legal team actually submits the application, we know that all the right paperwork has been submitted, and we're not going to get any comebacks in most cases for additional information. And because of that, we can achieve record processing times and for our clients.
Okay, perfect. We've had one question. I currently have real estate worth about 200,000 UK pounds. Are there ways to convert that to a citizenship advantage or pathway? Now, that's obviously a bit more specific to the individual. It might be one you'd rather take up separately, but I feel I should ask it as it's been put forward.
Yeah, sure. No, happy to answer that. So holding UK real estate, unfortunately, as Shabir rightly advised, is no longer eligible for the Tier 1 investor visa. So it's great that the applicant has real estate in the United Kingdom, and it could be a base for them to live from, but unfortunately, that asset on its own will not qualify one to apply for one of the residency visas by investment.
Okay. Just picking up on the UK, we've had a couple of questions that are sort of raising concerns about, how expensive it sort of comes across. What are you what would you consider the more effective, more cost-effective of the two? And perhaps maybe, Shabir, which UK program are you finding is more popular?
Sure, I'm happy to start with that one, Francesca. So in terms of popularity, I would say that the Tier 1 investor visa has definitely generated more interest over the past 12 or 18 months. I would caveat that by saying that although it's generated more interest and there's been a number of submissions that we are aware of, the success rate has been relatively low. And the main reason for that is that the applicants generally that want to start their own business in the UK, they don't meet the business, the company itself doesn't meet the eligibility criteria as set by the Home Office. And those items we discussed at a very high level, and I'm very happy to talk about those in more detail in a follow-up discussion. But essentially, the company needs to be innovative, scalable, and viable. And we have found from Rise's experience that the success rate of these applications significantly improves if there's a technology component to this business. And not everyone, I appreciate, has a technology background, but this is where we've seen greater success.
Okay,
I
perfect.
don't know, Helen, if you want to add something to the difficulties faced and maybe something from a tier one investor perspective.
Yeah, no, I think, you're absolutely right. You're spot on. I mean, the number of inquiries for the innovator visa because of the investment amounts involved or compared to the investor visa are, definitely more inquiries. But in terms of success rate, a lot lower, which is one of the reasons why, we have made sure that we have a partnership with Rise Asset Management, who are a specialist in the innovative field. And therefore, they can assist clients with coming up with or investing in an opportunity that meets all the criteria for investing or applying for an innovator visa. Which compared to the investor visa is I would say a lot cheaper route, and in terms of achieving your indefinite leave to remain is a shorter timescale as well.
Okay, and we are, as I say, we are getting sort of some questions sort of implying, it sounds very expensive, but I think can we sort of point out that these investments can also produce good returns? I mean, on that point, can I, ask both of you, perhaps Shabir to start with, what sort of returns can you get on your investment in the UK, for example?
So you touched on a very good point there, Francesca. So in terms of investment, so clearly, we consider these as investments, and that's and we're very much focused from a UK perspective, but I was very interested to hear and learn more about the programs in the Caribbean that Hiren touched on earlier on in the presentation. And it's very obvious there that there are two elements there. One is an investment option, generally via real estate, and the other option is via donation. And donation is, I'm assuming, literally donation. There is no investment return, and there is no reimbursement of the funds at the end of the once the application has been successfully approved. But from a UK perspective, we very much consider these as investments. So we are working with applicants and investors currently that are seeking an investment return on their investment. As I mentioned, investment returns start from 3%. It really depends on how the investment is structured. The two main options are share capital or loan capital, and loans to some of these companies pay from 3% per annum, and they can be paid the interest can be paid on an annual basis or quarterly basis, and can be used as contribution towards income to supplement expenses or contribute towards expenses in the UK. But clearly we've had and have been involved in investments that have returned far greater than 3%. It really depends on the profile and attitude to risk of the investor, and if they want to take more concentrated investment risk, or if they want to create a portfolio that will generate a reasonable return over the 5-year period if they're pursuing the investor visa route. But I would say somewhere between 3 and 10%, depending on how you structure the portfolio, is realistic. But yes, it's absolutely possible to generate higher returns than that.
Perfect. Hiren, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think Shabir covered it perfectly. I mean, when looking at the Caribbean islands, I always tell my clients that you shouldn't look at it from an investment perspective, or shouldn't look at it from a return perspective. The return on your capital is the second citizenship. It is the passport, and that's the best way to look at it. A lot of the real estate investment options are shares in hotel developments. although one can purchase freehold property as well, which is slightly more expensive. So, looking at it from an investment perspective is probably not the best view for the Caribbean. One must consider the benefit of having the second passport.
Well, actually, on that note, we have had a question that's asked, does the Caribbean country allow dual citizenship? Do I get to retain my current nationality as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The Caribbean islands, they all allow dual citizenship. And specifically, I don't know where the applicant is from, but I'm assuming that the applicant is from Nigeria. And if they are from Nigeria, then yes, Nigeria does allow dual citizenship. There are countries in the world that do not allow dual citizenship. So when you apply for second citizenship, you would have to renounce your local citizenship. But from a Nigerian perspective, it's absolutely fine. Same with the Caribbean.
Okay, perfect. And what documents might someone need to provide in order to apply? More on the processing sort of question there.
Yeah, sure. So with each and every program, the documentation that is required differs significantly, whether you're applying for the UK, you could be applying for Portugal, Malta, or the Caribbean. It does differ significantly. If you're applying for a citizenship program, such as in the Caribbean, the documentation list is quite extensive, as one can imagine, because the countries are offering citizenship and the rights of that country to that individual and their family in exchange for a donation. So, they want to ensure that the right caliber of applicant is selected. I couldn't possibly go through the list now because it's quite extensive, but just to give you a flavor, source of wealth documentation, identification documentation, the regular KYC and AML documents which are required. But in addition to that, one would have to show, clear criminal records through police clearance certificates, medical records through local medicals taken, as well as generational information such as fathers and grandfathers, grandparents documentation as well.
But once you pass this sort of initial sort of KYC and those details, have you had many applications declined at a later date?
No, as I've said, we are currently running on 100% success record, and I want to try and continue that. In terms of the document, it does sound very, very daunting, and the list is, it is quite exhaustive. But this is why I think it's very important, especially, Windsor having positioned ourselves in a way that we have local expertise on the ground to assist the applicant. So you're not on your own. If you're applying for a program and you need to produce certain pieces of information, we have the local support that can assist you in doing that. And a lot of our clients simply just don't have the time. They are entrepreneurs, they are, C-suite level individuals who cannot sit and, dedicate time to put the application together. Again, this is why our local partners on the ground will assist you every step of the way.
Perfect. Can I ask a quick question? Somebody's raised sort of the connection between the Caribbean and the US. Can you explain how that works? How that sort of opens up doors in the US under one of the Caribbean programs?
Yeah, sure. So Grenada in the Caribbean has an E2 treaty with the United States of America. So the US has a number of countries which they have an E2 treaty with, dating back to, I believe, the Second World War. So once you are a citizen of Grenada, it enables you the right to apply for an E2 visa for the United States of America. And you can do this by investing or setting up a business in the US. The processing time is only 2 months, and an E2 visa allows the applicant and their family to live, work, and study in the United States of America, should they wish to do so. So children up to the age of 21 can attend school. The visa, although it's for 5 years, comes with unlimited renewals. I would also say at the same time that the E2 visa is not a green card, and does not lead to a green card. However, over a period of time, depending upon how successful your business is, how much it grows, one can look to amend the visa status from an E2 to maybe an L, or another class visa to then lead to a green card. In other ways that the Caribbean citizenship programs, and I guess this goes with any other residency or citizenship program that we offer. Obviously, certain countries have different relationships with the United States of America. And so having a citizenship of another country might make it more accessible or might make it easier than your current situation to apply for US visas. I'll give you an example, not specifically with the US, but with Canada. Up until 2015 or early 2016, St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the Caribbean citizenship by investment programs, had a visa-free treaty with Canada. So if you're a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, you could travel to Canada without the need for a visa. That is no longer the case. However, I know that the two countries are working hard at the moment to try and re-establish that visa-free travel between the two countries. And so who knows, what the future might hold in terms of the visa-free access for the Caribbean countries. What I do know is that citizenship by investment is very important to these Caribbean islands, and one of them, their strengths, one of their traits is that they allow visa-free access to a large number of countries globally. So for them, every year on year, what they are trying to do is increase the number of countries that their passport gives visa-free access to, rather than try and diminish. So hopefully, moving forward, the passports will become even more accessible to the world.
Okay, we have time for one or two more questions, and we have just had one which actually links very nicely from what you've just been saying about work. Specifically, aside from not needing a travel visa to several countries, are there any other economic benefits of the Caribbean passport? For example, can one work in the UK, Schengen, or other countries? Would you like to pick up on that, Aaron?
Sure, yeah, no, very good question. A lot of people do assume that the visa-free access does give you access to work, or to apply for different residencies in these countries. But I must stress that the visa-free, visa on arrival, or e-visa access is simply that. As a visitor, the Caribbean citizenship by investment programs does not give you the ability to work in the UK or in Europe, or it does not give you the ability to live indefinitely. It does give you visa-free access as a visitor of that country. But I think it's very important to note that, with the citizenship of a Caribbean island, you have the ability to live, work, and study as well in the Caribbean, which a lot of people overlook. I mean, they are beautiful islands, and home to a number of universities which are absolutely world-renowned. Briefly mention in Grenada. Grenada houses St. George's Medical University, a US university, which currently accounts for about 20% of all US physicians in the United States of America. 20% of the graduates are from St. George's University in Grenada. It is a very high caliber university. It can be obviously expensive to send a child to medical school because it takes so many years. But one benefit that Grenada citizenship does give you as well is that after 1 year of residency in Grenada, one would qualify for 90% discount on medical fees of that university, being a Grenadian citizen. I mean, that alone would probably pay for the program for yourself and the family. So those are the benefits of the Caribbean. It doesn't give you the ability to live and work in the visa-free zones, but there are other benefits within the Caribbean that one can explore.
Perfect. I'm afraid we're out of time for the questions, but I'm glad we managed to get through quite a few there. As we mentioned, if we didn't get your question, please do get in touch with Greenwich trustees. We will put the contact details, they're available there in front of everybody, and we will be able to follow up with any questions afterwards. More than happy to do that. On that note, can I just thank both my speakers, Hiran and Shabir, and also our partners today, Greenwich Trustees Limited, and of course, everybody who's worked hard to help this event take place. I will pass back now to our kind hosts for some closing comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Thank you very much, our panelists. Thank you very much, every participant to this webinar. I started initially by saying that the song is better sung by the composer, and we can all agree with me. So most of us were actually ignorant of what the topic was all about. But I want to believe that leaving this webinar today, we are better informed of the need for us to have a second home. Now, we at Greenwich Trustees, we regard this as one of the estate planning methods that you, our participants, can adopt. You can leave, assets in a will for your children. You can do a living trust and transfer wealth to your children. But I tell you what, the benefit of them having the opportunity to live and work in another country, the benefit of having the opportunity to just pick up their bags, buy the next ticket, and they're in the US and they're in UK, those benefits can never be quantified. Now, we also know very well that if you leave, for instance, 50 million to 4 or 5 children today, that is worthless. But if you use the same amount to procure the citizenship for them, I tell you, they will value it more than leaving that money for them. This is the food for thought. And I thank everybody that has participated in this program. I thank our panelists particularly. I thank our able co-hosts, the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce. You've been so wonderful. You've supported us all the way. So I look forward to an opportunity to engage more with the participants at this program. I believe that this is the beginning of even better things to come. Just take this as one of the estate planning methods you want to put aside for your children. Thank you very much once again, and we look forward to meeting you and engaging you further on all aspects of the discussions for today. God bless you all. Thank you. So on this note, I call this program to an end, and I will wish everybody a pleasant day. Thank you so much.